Going. All right, so this is the ranked choice voting ad hoc committee meeting, July 15th, 2021. And our nice notice, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order and the extensions thereof, imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Easthampton Ranked Choice Voting Ad Hoc Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by connecting via Zoom as described on the meeting agenda. Yeah. Alrighty. Public speak. We do not appear to have any members of the public. Oh, what was that?
That was me, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Just me sending email.
Sounds like we won something.
Yeah. It sounded like a member of the public raising their hand. All right, let's see. We have approval of minutes. Open. Let me pull them up. Minutes. All right. So we have some nice tableized minutes. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes from our June 17th meeting?
A motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Second.
And any discussion? All in favor?
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay. So we had an aye from Tom, an aye from.
If you tell me what you're talking about, I'll be happy to cast a vote.
This is voting to accept the June 17th minutes.
Oh yeah, sure, aye.
Okay. So we have 4 ayes and 2 abstains. Okie dokie. Secretary, we need to figure out who is taking minutes for this meeting. The last person was Chris, I believe. These are your
Yes.
nice tabular outlined in a square minutes. I like that. So let's see. NOP, that would put Tom. But you did them sort of recently, didn't you?
I feel like I did like 1 or like 2 ago or something.
I did the meeting before this one.
Yeah.
I think that I did the minutes last meeting out of order because someone wasn't here or something like that.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Well, Jackie, Sarah, or Tom, you guys get to fight to decide who gets to do them.
I was just going to say I feel a little green, this being my second meeting to attempt that.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 minutes to get set up. I'm happy to do it. I haven't done it in a little while, so just give me a sec.
Okay. Brad, thank you, Sarah.
No problem.
Okay, so, then we're on to the meat of things. In case nobody knows, I'm sure you all know, the city council accepted our proposed ordinance, so it is now an actual town ordinance, which is cool. And as I've just been made aware, I am on the front page of a weird newspaper. Yes. It's cool.
The perils of being.
Yeah, right. So that I'm psyched. There was some good discussion among the council when that happened, and so now we just got to bring it home. As far as I know from reports, there are going to at least be 2 candidates for mayor on the ballot. So ranked choice voting will be used for the mayor race. I'm not sure about the other district councils, but there could still be more nomination papers even pulled, let alone submitted. So that's cool. So with the ordinance totally out of the way, the role of this committee going forward is just going to be education and producing whatever kinds of materials we need. We have the posting, which for the polls about the software settings, that was completed, and that was also submitted to the city council in a packet along with the ordinance. So I consider that to be pretty much done, unless something changes and it needs to be tweaked. So, you know, what I see really is, number one, a mailer that we have money to print and mail to the whole city. What we have money for is ostensibly a front and back large EDDM mailer. If you're not familiar with EDDM, it's like what a lot of your political business advertising sort of mail looks like. It's very inexpensive. It's
like a big postcard, right?
Like a big postcard. And it can be all kinds of different sizes, but they can get really large. They can be sometimes a little smaller, but it's basically just a front and a back. If the committee ends up deciding that we want to modify that, you know, there are other options. But I think it's probably the cheapest, most high impact way to go. We just have to make sure that it doesn't look like an ad that goes immediately into the recycling. And then there's also the possibility of posters. I could see us having potentially educational stuff for polling places. Mm-hmm. That's less texty and more just sort of a simpler concept. And beyond that, I could, you know, I imagine that there could be stuff posted online, whether it's the same stuff, whether it's tailored to be online, whether we do any social media engagement, you know, is also sort of up in the air. And I love the idea of bringing in other community members. I don't think any of us really managed to pull it together for this meeting to have them come to this meeting, but I still think it's a really good idea. And so I want to spend some time tonight talking about the next steps for that and how we're going to get people into that kind of conversation and make it sort of the best bang for the buck in terms of effort and time. And I will also pull up the previous sort of postery thing that I did. I do not have a draft of a mailer. I know it was, I hoped to have one as a starting place to look at, but I don't. I certainly hope to have something to show all of you soon, but I will email that out as soon as I have it so that there's not a delay.
I think one thing we have to, Dan's comment at the meeting, not Dan Gilbert, Dan Rist, at the meeting, that it has to be like ranked choice voting for dummies.
Yes.
It's got to be very basic and understandable and nothing too techy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be really important. I do, yeah, something for the polls along that same line, like really visual, I think, and, you know, and I will be, as we get closer, looking for a team of people who are going to help with explaining things to people when they come in the door. Dan, you're going to be getting something from me next week, but what I don't want to have happen is for people to check in on the poll pads, be given a ballot, and then expect for our checker people to explain how to mark the ballot. So we're going to need, I mean, and I'm hoping that Sarah and Chris and Jackie and
Well, I have to because I'm on the board of registrars of voters. So it's my job.
Yep. So Tom and Owen get a pass on this, and Dan's going to be working, and I'm going to be working. So we're going to be looking to have a group of people who are going to be willing to be there all day and really do some, you know, voter in the door kind of, like wearing hats or I don't know, something. Ask me about how to mark the ballot or whatever.
Can I make a suggestion / question?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I don't know if you guys use Robert's Rules of Order for this meeting.
Not really. We do for motions and for decision making.
Okay.
Besides that, we don't really so much.
Okay. So I'm on the Easthampton Dems group, which might be a good place to kind of do some testing of, does this material fly? Does it make sense? And also to recruit some volunteers to work the polls.
Yep.
To explain. So I'm happy to be the person to do that outreach if
Oh,
that's
that would be
That's great.
fantastic. That would be wonderful.
cool.
And I think we're gonna use email. I know we can't have quorum quantity conversations and discussions over email, but we can use it to disseminate information and documents. So stuff for you to show them essentially and pass on will come via email.
I'm also married to a graphic designer.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, and he often does pro bono work for some kinds of things.
Cool.
So that wouldn't be a conflict of interest because we wouldn't have to,
Nice.
yeah.
For the mailer, it's going to be an interesting and I think somewhat unique graphic design challenge. I also have a graphic design background, and it's going to be striking the right tone of having it look very clear and simple and nice and be attractive, but also not look corporate, not look partisan, and not look advertisey, or so there's an element of too flashy or too designed that I think would potentially work against us. We want it to look a little utilitarian or a little sort of municipal official. It's a unique thing, so it'll be.
So can you, is the ranked choice voting, the center, the group that we started with, they must have all sorts of, they must have some, flyers that we can like start with rather than starting from scratch.
Yeah. They have a whole media kit, so there's definitely stuff there.
Yeah, and I think we should have the town seal on it someplace just so people know that it's official.
I definitely agree. So I think I'd like to start, because it's kind of already on the burner, but a little back burnered. I want to start with community people and outreach. So I'm just looking at our minutes from the last meeting, which I'm pulling up. Hang on. And so we started to have a list here. So the list right now is, let's see, reporters, Brendan Rogers, Robin at Communication Center, John Schmidt, Kelly Brown.
Can I give a little I don't know if I should even say this. Just say the Council on Aging Director.
Okay. So the problem with me reaching out to all of these people is that I don't know a lot of them, and I don't have contact information for all of them. So I think what we should do is, I'm gonna actually, I know you're taking notes, Sarah. I'm gonna just open up a little text editor here, and
of course, I probably know a lot of these people, so
okay.
Of course.
So I'm just gonna screen share this so everyone can see it. Here. Okay. Can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Who's John Schmidt?
Jonathan Smith, he's a school committee member.
No.
Or, I think
Yeah,
the name isn't right,
It's not
but
spelled quite correctly.
He goes by Jonathan.
Yeah. And there's a D in there.
D. Okay, that's why it was throwing me so far.
DT.
He's the only one who hasn't taken out papers yet.
okay.
So this is.
When I wrote others, I think I meant other city councilors.
Okay.
And what is this we're looking at?
This is a list of people and places that we want to do outreach to in preparation of having a conversation with us to educate them, and also to potentially have that, to have that organically go out to whatever audience they have, and potentially have it be more formal than that. Was Tom?
Where's Brendan?
Brendan Rogers is.
Put Council on Aging Director, because, well, I'm not going to say more. I mean, just put it as the contact person.
Robin at Com Center, is that Easthampton Media?
Community Center.
Community Center. Kelly Brown that's Easthampton Media, right?
The We the People teacher. She's an EHS teacher.
Sure. Okay. So basically, what I'd like to do is split this list up a little bit and add to it if we want to, kind of make it final. Basically, so that, I'm happy to write an email and send it out to people, but I think things are going to be better if it comes from somebody who they know. So if there's anyone else who's willing to send an email or make a phone call to any of these people who they know personally.
Well, I pretty much know everybody.
Yeah, but do you want to be doing all that? I don't want to put all of that onto you just because, right. So this is a volunteer thing where, you're volunteering to have a conversation with these people and potentially convince them to come to our next meeting for some brainstorming and education, outreach, et cetera.
You know who else I might suggest putting on there is the members of the maybe not. I don't know. There might be something valuable about the members of the Charter Review Committee, just because they were involved in this early on. They might be interested.
I know we have one of them here, right? At least, well, two of them. Yeah.
Two, yeah.
Don't forget me, Tom, and all we've been through together.
I'm sorry, I've got a limited screen. I can't see everyone's faces.
Okay. Do we want to reach out to Easthampton Media?
Yeah, that's a good idea, Jen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm. And is the point, so I can imagine if I'm asking, folks on the Democratic City Committee to be involved in figuring out how to help with education around this, they're going to want, before they come to one of these meetings, they're going to want something to react to, I think. So is that one of the goals, to kind of share some information first because I know, the premise of ranked choice voting is actually kind of simple, but it gets complicated quickly.
So I think the ask is this. I think the ask is, please come to our next meeting to discuss the first use of RCV in Easthampton and how we outreach to voters before it happens. I think it can be as general as that. Just come here, we want to talk to you and basically answer any questions that you may have about RCV and brainstorm a little bit about how you may want to sort of spread that to other people in the town that you know. Basically, we've identified you as somebody who may be kind of a, for lack of a better word, influencer in town politics, not politics, but civic, whatever, engagement. And we'd like you to sort of just be a part of this and be educated so that we can reach as many people as possible. Does that make sense? That's what I sort of gathered from our last meeting, and I like it in its sort of simplicity. And
I would also just add, this could be a good opportunity for folks who are, trusted voices in the community to ask any questions they might have
Yes.
of us. So if there's folks who, people are going to be asking questions of them, this is an opportunity for them to ask any questions they might have or volunteer any ways that they could help.
Yes.
Any events or outreach or whatever, but just, with the goal of trying to reach as many people as we can.
Yes. So who wants to sign up for any of these people?
Well, I think I already signed up for the Democratic City Committee.
Okay.
And John Schmidt would probably be there since he's the
Yeah,
treasurer.
he's the
I'll
treasurer.
reach out to Jen Ramsey.
Okay.
I have contacts with, well, I don't know if I want to say this in public. By the time of our next meeting, we may not have, we might not have anybody as Council on Aging Director, but somebody from the Council on Aging, whether it's somebody on their board of directors maybe. And I also have contact with Kelly Brown.
Okay.
So I think just inviting them to the next meeting to talk about, I think brainstorm a little bit is definitely, I'm not sure about the reporters at this point.
I'm not either.
Maybe it's a little too soon. I don't know. That's just my thought.
I could reach out to Robin. I don't know her very well, but I know her a little.
Okay.
I could do that too if you aren't feeling up to it.
Yeah, I know her too. I mean, I can do that.
I mean, if you guys know her better, then go for it.
Okay. Do you want to, Barb, do you want to ask her? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Either one of us.
I don't know what her availability is. She has a lot of stuff going on.
Always.
Jackie, did you say that John Schmidt is,
John's on the Easthampton Dems, so I will see him on this
Okay.
weekend.
okay, cool.
Yep.
Is there any particular reason why he was picked for the school committee member?
He's the
I think because of his affiliation with the library.
Yeah.
Okay.
and he does a lot of work with the teens, among which there may be some new voters or kids who might be willing to talk to other kids at EHS.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm going to see if I can find someone with some Republican town.
I have the email for the Republican committee, so if you want, I can just.
If you'll send that to me, that's good. I'll do some more digging too to see who I can find to reach out to personally.
I mean, I know who the chair is, so
Yep.
I have her email.
Okay, so if you could send that to me, that would be great.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind cold calling or going to a meeting of theirs. And I can reach out to Omar also because he's my city councilor.
If you want me to email the charter review committee members for old time's sake, I'm happy to do that.
Great. And then I'll leave it on the rest of you to kind of reach out to any other city council people that your own city council people or people that you know personally. I mean, we have 2 on this committee already, so.
Right. And I can also just put up, I mean, I can, to some extent, just, I can use my social media or whatever to I mean, if there's people we're not thinking of who want to be involved, obviously it's an open meeting, so. Oh,
yeah, that's right. So we have, the other thing I'll do is we have the Easthampton Voters for RCV Facebook, which surprisingly has still a bunch of followers and still gets new ones sometimes. So I'll make a post on that Facebook page about the next meeting, because it wouldn't hurt to have just members of the public who are already engaged with this. Okay, good. So does this looks like a pretty good list. We're gonna hold on this for now. And other city council is kind of a wild card. And yeah, okay, cool, great. This is excellent. And this will be followed up too. send out this.
Do we want to just go ahead and set our next meeting now, just so we don't forget, just in, just in case. Just
Not a bad
talking
idea.
about the next meeting anyway.
Yep. So I think August 19th looks like a good day for me.
With the new website, I don't know how to find the calendar.
That's a Thursday.
I'm going to be away and I don't know what my internet situation is going to be like. But obviously,
Is the 12th or the 26th better for you?
I'm not going to be here the 26th.
Okay.
yes, that's, hold on a second. Yes, the 12th works for me.
12th is good. Is the 12th good for everybody?
I think
Works
so.
for me.
Okay. So the next meeting will be Thursday, August 12th, 6 p.m. All right, so let me share this, which is a little bit old now, but
Can I just ask a process question?
yeah.
Looking at what the ballot looks like right now, which, I mean, obviously we've got 2 months left to go. So say we end up with Nicole and Eric, and we end up with, right now, a race in precinct number 4. And what about, I mean, just looking at what I see, I would think after the first round, it would probably be decided. What happens in that situation? Is that just it? Or how would that work? I mean, when I run the tape and it's 50% for one person right off the bat, what happens?
I think we still, at least by law, need to deal with the write-ins and any unreadable ballots. But I mean, it's at that point, it's kind of a formality, right?
But we would probably still take the cards and feed them in and do the whole report. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it'll just be like good practice for us when it is a more.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not going to change. I'm just saying right now, what if it ends up staying like that?
Well, then I think the answer is it'll be easy.
I mean, there could be a possibility where there's 5 candidates for mayor and still somebody wins has like
With a majority, yeah.
on the first ballot. And then it's like, well, I guess there you have it, right? Like if somebody comes in with the majority of total votes cast in the first round, then every other voter could coalesce behind a single candidate and it wouldn't matter. That person already has the majority. They're going to be the winner, even if every write-in is for whoever, even if every second choice vote for whoever. If you have 51% of the total votes cast in the first round, you're the winner kind of no matter what. You still might be interested in the rest of that information. I mean, there still might be a reason to run it, but like, I think it's pretty fair at that point to say like, so-and-so
has won.
Yeah.
Well, we have to run it because under the ordinance, that data needs to be available, and the way it's reported is by. So at least at the cast vote records and stuff like that need to eventually be made available.
Right. Okay.
But it would be. I mean, it would be clear who won.
Right.
It would be very obvious, and that's going to be the case sometimes, even when there are more than 2 candidates. Someone's going to get 60 or 80%, and it'll be very simple. So, I think you had said, looking back, that there were 2 out of 11 elections since Easthampton became a city where somebody won without a majority. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot of times, but it's also not insignificant. So whether that occurs on our first use of it or not kind of remains to be seen. And it's going to depend, I think, a lot on who decides to run.
Right.
for the first time in something like a mayoral race or a district city councilor, someone does not need to be worried about taking votes away from somebody else by throwing their hat in the ring. So whether that immediately results in more candidates or takes a little while for that to have any sort of a effect, I don't know. But, you know, it's nice to already see that there's a competitor in the mayor's race, and maybe there'll be more. So. And if the whole first thing is super, super smooth because we only have two, you know, then it's on one hand a little bit silly, but on the other hand, it's a little bit less pressure. Mm-hmm. So,
we got 2 months. We got 2 months left to go. So. Yeah.
Right. So we may have more. So I want to pull this. Oops. Oh, I have this on. Oh, no, I don't have this on. Quick look. Preview. What if my... Oh, there it is. Sorry. Okay. So this was a draft that I had made a few months back for a potential something. Now, the ballot looks a little bit different, so this needs to be kind of updated for that. And
it doesn't really.
Well, it's a little different. So the numbers aren't inside the circle like this.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
And the first, second, third, fourth looks a little bit different. I mean, we could decide that this serves because it's close enough, but it might make sense to make it look exactly.
Yeah, might as well try to use it. Yeah.
I was hoping that our ballots could be made to look like this exactly, but we would have had to pay thousands of dollars for software for them to update it. So it doesn't. It's not feasible. So I don't on first glance I don't immediately love how a lot of this is the red, like the larger area in terms of space is the red, because that does make me feel like, oh God, there's a lot of ways that I can chuck this up. So it might make sense to sort of change sizes sort of as to emphasize the do's and maybe de-emphasize the don'ts. But this is going down the path of what I could imagine a poster-ish kind of thing looking like. Mm-hmm. But I don't entirely know how this fits into a mailer. I think a mailer would look significantly different.
Yeah, something like this for the polls, maybe, I mean, it's basically something like that. Something visual is good.
Yep. Yeah, this might even be too many words.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to hang this in every booth?
Yeah, I guess you probably could. If it was going to be in the booth, I would think it would have to be something simpler, not with so many boxes. Mm-hmm. Maybe how to mark, maybe the top one.
Yep.
I think maybe the top line would be maybe helpful to have in a booth.
Yep. So basically what Barbara is saying is just sort of.
Yeah, we have to also be careful because we don't, the whole ballot isn't ranked choice voting, so we don't want people to get all confused.
Correct. Yep.
Well, there could be additional signage that says above it, like for these two races or whatever, how to mark your RCV ballot.
Yep. Jackie, do you want to, you said that you have a graphic designer person.
Yes, I have an in-house designer.
An in-house designer. Would you want to sort of, I don't know, you or they may want something more concrete to go on, but perhaps in a very vague sense, you could say, hey, we're putting together a flyer and we're putting together a poster. Do you want to do some sketches or some quick thoughts, some brainstorming thoughts on what, a pretty uninflected prompt. And if they say, no, I want a more specific task, then that's fine. And I can, we can involve them at a later date. But at this stage, if you want to give them a sort of little bit of an overview of the kinds of material that we're talking about and say, hey, we're at the brainstorming stage. Do you want to do some quick ideas for what you think? Then I think that would be wonderful. I mean, that would be.
I think we just need to have more of a sense of like, if what we're looking at right now is really a poster, not a postcard, like whatever's going on the mail, I think it needs to be a little bit more specific.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I know that, I just know what the deliverables are in this case, which is we're going to have a mailer. It's going to be two-sided. It's going to be a little bit more information. It's going to be a little bit more text information than a poster. We're going to have a poster that's going to be something that goes at the polls, perhaps even in the voting booths. And it's going to have some subset of this kind of information on it,
Is there a place, Dan, to look at? I know there's a statewide group that's been working on this stuff. Is there like other materials out there?
Oh yeah, there's Fair Vote. They have a lot of materials. There's the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center. They have a lot of materials. They also are the vendor for software for New York City.
Lucky them.
Well, their software is open source, so it's a free option, and it's good. I've used it. It was not really an option for us because of our machines and our vendor software, but so they do that, and they also provide a lot of human support for things that. But they do have materials as well. So there's the issue here is not too little, it's too much. there's a lot, and it's in various, very, very various different forms of voter education, very different levels of graphic design. Some of it is good, a lot of it is mediocre, some of it is terrible. So whittling it down to what is important and useful is going to be big. So again, like I said last time, I am certainly committed to doing a first draft of the mailer so that it's something that we can work off of. I'm happy to continue to work on a poster idea too. Having done this one a while ago, I have some thoughts about perhaps how it could be improved. But, so, oops. So I don't know that I have much more for this meeting. This might be a quick one. I know that the next couple of months are going to go faster than everybody thinks they are. So, I love the idea of just another graphic designer being involved at all, even just to give feedback on stuff. I'm going to send this out along with or a PDF of this out along with the little contacts list, just so that people can, Jackie, you can show it to him and get feedback or any kind of.
Dan, would it be a pain just to ask you to drop those places that you mentioned quickly of other resources? Just drop me links to those in there too, and then I'll just take a look at some stuff.
Yeah. So I'll put Fair Vote and RCV Resource Center, and I'll have links there too, and also VCMA, which is the statewide organization. And also the NYC RCV stuff too.
Cool.
I'll send those 4 out as well. So I'm going to stop screen sharing for a second. So do folks have anything else regarding the outreach stuff? I appreciate the fact that people are splitting up this list with me to do some outreach. We don't have that many more meetings before our first election. So this August 12th meeting is going to be the meeting for these public people to come. And even if it's only 1 or 2 people that come, it'll be, kind of worth it going through it with them. But there's not really time to push it back further. So be specific about the time and the place for this meeting when talking to any of these folks. And
Dan, I've also, well, you'll find out this too. This doesn't really have to do with the committee, but I want to have a training for the election workers, even just to give them like the basics. I don't think they really need to get deep into the weeds, but I'm gonna, like, all my checkers, everybody, it's gonna be kind of a mandatory couple. I'll probably have to do a couple meetings because they need to not be blindsided by what's coming at them.
I actually meant to bring that up earlier when it was a segue from something, but the idea of doing some education for all of the poll workers.
Yep.
Because they're all going to get a question or two. That's something I'm certainly more than happy to be involved in if I can be helpful.
And that will also have to be ranked choice voting for dummies kind of thing. I mean, because they don't really they don't need to know the background. They just need to know how people need to mark their ballots and like if the machines pop things out wrong, they need to be able to be familiar with it. And I think it's going to be hard because there's a lot of people and not all of them are going to be working on, they're not all going to be working. But I think, I kind of have to make everybody come because some people cancel and things like that. So
I love that idea. I love this idea for t-shirts. I mean, I don't know if I would definitely pitch into that too. Again, this can't be a political or an advocacy thing. This is a purely like logistical, but the idea of poll workers having a little uniform t-shirt, it helps people would identify.
I meant more those of us who are going to be at the polls answering those questions. You don't actually want them to ask the poll workers, right? That was what Barb was saying.
I think I would rather see that. Like if somebody's going to like be the information person, then maybe the shirt, but I don't, we got 100 poll workers and they're all different sizes.
That's true.
So
that's a lot.
If we're going to do any kind of shirts or hats or anything, let's concentrate on the people who I want to have the answers. People asking the questions of.
We can have Mantis Graphics make 5 t-shirts too, or 10 t-shirts. They're or whoever like they're.
But that crew of people who are going to be the people that are outside, before people go in to check in. I do want to kind of figure out who those people are going to be and make sure that they really are familiar with it. So if people, I mean, I don't know how many people we're going to need, but we're all in the same place. So which is good because that helps a little bit. But I mean, how many people do you think we would need? Like,
I would think 2 people at any given time.
Oh, I think more than 2.
Well, you could do 2 per shift.
That's what I'm saying.
Polling place is what I'm thinking.
2 people.
It's all going to be the same polling place.
Like 2 people per you walk into the high school. I think we'll need some people there. And, they're going to be in the outer part, not. I don't want to disrupt the lines or anything. Right. It's going to be kind of like when you first walk in the door.
Yep.
Right.
So, I mean, I'd like to see maybe 4 people. So. And if anybody has questions, sometimes they may just be standing around, helping people find where they're going to vote. But so if we could kind of think about who those people would be throughout the whole day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So they're probably going to be a couple different shifts.
Right.
Yeah.
If I was not already a poll worker, I'm sure I would be one of those people.
I know. No, you're going to be busy doing your
I'm gonna
own
be
stuff.
busy. Yeah.
Well, but if we can each kind of like think about recruiting folks from our networks, if that makes sense, and then we do a training.
Right. I think we do have to be careful not to have it be really Democratic leaning.
Yeah.
We have to, I mean, not that we really need to worry about that, but we don't want to make it look like, oh, the only people telling us what to do are on the Democratic Town Committee.
But nobody really knows who that is. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, you
Some
know,
people. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should,
The other thought that is to ask the We the People kids.
yeah.
And they would love a t-shirt. They always want free t-shirts. Kids always want free t-shirts.
Yeah. Kelly might be, she's helped me with some poll workers and, people at the polls. So she might be good, but they need to be, pretty knowledgeable on what it means. And, so anyway, if everybody, like, I'm thinking Sarah, Jackie, and Chris, if you can be.
Barb, I can't commit to that because it's not a school day and I have 3 small kids. So I can't, I'm sorry.
Okay. So see, so we got to think about that,
Yeah, but Sarah could commit to like asking a couple of people who she
I
thinks,
can certainly do that.
like, I think that's what we can all say, for sure, I'm going to ask 4 people
Absolutely.
if they're able to do this. And we'll
Okay.
set up like a schedule of who can be where, when.
Yeah. And then there's going to, then we're going to have to train them separately, this is what it looks like. These are things, just we're going to have to train them separately.
And I'm available for any and all training sessions.
Yep.
So I'm happy to do as much of that as is needed
Okay.
with
All right.
with any groups of people pretty much at any time. So
And I would think we would just want to have a training, like one training the weekend before or something to make sure that people know what we're talking about.
Right.
well,
Yeah,
it's
we're
gonna look a
gonna
little different for-
need a lot of people outside because, people are still not, because they've only been to the voting at the high school once. We're going to have to work on our traffic control a little better, and it depends on what the ballot looks like too, as to how many people are going to come out. But I've got a few ideas of how I want to put up some stanchions. We had some clogging up, but that was a big election and it probably won't be anywhere near that. So,
right.
yeah.
But you never know. There could something.
Well, it
Someone
depends
could
on-
hop on who's controversial, or there could be.
Yeah, it depends on who else might want to, if anybody else is going to enter the mayor race and, that a counselor at large, maybe, I guess it could be, but I mean, if things stay quiet, it could be quiet. So, but you got to plan for the worst and hope for the best.
I mean, I was recently reading that this year is seeing more mayors retire than like any other year ever in history, just on account of this has been kind of a tough time to be a mayor. So I'm not shocked that there's not like a flood of people rushing into elected office
Right. Well,
right at this moment, but who knows?
Yeah, I've kind of heard overall the city races are looking to be fairly quiet. Well, except for Northampton and Holyoke, of course. But
Right.
like statewide, my fellow city clerks across the state, they're saying, when most of them are almost ready, their nomination period is almost set because they have preliminaries. So most of them are saying this year looks super quiet, except in Northampton and Holyoke, and we can let them have all the fun. Yeah. I just thought because it was going to be a 4-year term this year that we might pick up something, and we still could. I just haven't really been hearing much, but that doesn't mean anything.
It's early days.
It is. Yeah. Anyway.
So with the volunteers, ask me about ranked choice voting volunteers. When do you think we should have that lined up by? 2 weeks before?
I'd rather know before that.
When would you like?
I'd like to know in October sometime.
Okay.
That is 2 weeks before.
Well,
That's true.
But yes,
yeah,
but point taken. Yeah.
yeah, you know,
We'll over recruit knowing that some people will drop off.
right. Yeah,
Because we could hit the people that volunteered to do the committee stuff, and yeah, we'll find people.
okay. It just can't be anybody on the ballot, so, you know,
Yeah, Tom.
it trims things down, unfortunately, because, yeah.
Tom, are you running again for your seat?
I am.
Cool. Do you know if you have any opposition?
Not yet.
No papers yet.
Much
People
to
talk
your
a lot.
dismay.
What's that?
Much to your dismay.
I want 2 to 3 people to run against me. If one, it would be a pain, but 2 to 3, then we get to use ranked choice voting.
Yeah.
So,
You just want to see stuff happen.
yeah, we'll see. It would seem a little weird to run 3 consecutive times without an opponent, but what do I know?
The curse of competence, Tom.
Yeah, it means you're doing a good job.
I don't think Dan has ever had anybody, maybe the very first selection.
No, I don't. Well, maybe.
Barbara, you said there was a race in 4?
Well, 2 people have taken out papers.
Right. And Dave, it's Dave so Salem, who's already there, and Dave
Munier.
Bernier, who he said he was going to do this a while ago.
Yeah.
But he's the one that pulled?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you're interested, he has a Facebook page.
All right, any new business, guys? All right. I think we're going to wrap this up. It's almost 7.
Okay, good.
So please do any outreach sooner rather than later. I'm going to email stuff tonight to everybody and keep brainstorming about who else would be good to talk to and what materials might look like. Barbara, I am totally excited and available to do any sort of training with poll workers or volunteers. Anybody?
Yep, I'm gonna take you up on that, but
Please do.
won't be till October.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. So I am also available to do if anybody has a group or even the if the Easthampton Dems want to have me come and do a thing or whatever, like happy to do that too.
Cool.
I don't know. It would be more of a answering questions kind of thing. I actually did that before with the Easthampton Dems.
You sure did.
For the statewide stuff. And as did Tom. So, all right. So, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Bye.
That's everybody.
All right.
All right, guys. Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
heat.
See you next month.
Ah.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.